All right, let's get going. I had the music on double for some reason. It should be sorted now. Hey guys, so tonight is Cecconoid. I know how to pronounce it properly now. Who've we got here then? So hi to Mr. G, Amok, Eldritch, Steps, Prow7, Gildan, Old School Coder, Gabriel Domino, Grey Defender. Hi guys, and Akmuffin. Hi guys. Okay, yeah, so we're going to do a port tonight, or we're going to start doing the port. We're not going to do it in one night, obviously, of Cecconoid, which is a great Cybernoid style clone. So it's an homage to. Oh, Andy as well. Sorry, Andy. And Wizard NJ as well. There was quite a lot of text this time. You guys chatted a lot. We don't normally chat quite so much on the starting soon, so. Yeah, it came out on the Switch today. I've yet to get it on the Switch. I'm going to get it, just because it's going to be a bit easier for me to play it and get an idea. No, there won't be any flea bits for this because it's going to be a commercial game. So, fortunately, not. Okay, yeah, I've got it on Steam already, but I'm going to get it on. I'm going to get it on the Switch. Let me just give you a quick demonstration of it, actually. Let me just pause the SID music a second, and I wonder if I can get this in windowed mode. There we go. That way you can. Is it going to let me resize? No, it's not. All right, I'll just do it in the middle for now. Okay. So it's a twin stick shooter. Very kind of heavily inspired by 1-bit kind of Spectrum graphics. A nice soundtrack and some really nice. Let me just turn that down a little bit. Actually, you can't hear it at all. I can hear it really loud. Okay, let me just turn my desktop volume down a bit. There we go. So, yeah, the original version has this VGA effect on it, so that's one thing that we're going to drop straight away. There's not really any need for it, so I'm not going to bother putting that in. Well, in fact, I mean, it'd probably be impossible to put in anyway. So you can see it's quite heavy on the particles. Make the bullet stronger. I feel like such a wimp player. Well, you can get power-ups as well. So this flick screen, there's a nice little effect. I'll show you that effect again as you move between screens. May add that, I'm not sure yet. I'll have to see how we go about adding the level graphics in. And essentially, it's just black and white with hints of red in places. And then occasionally you get into levels like this, which are a bit like Robotron and stuff, which, oh, for God's sake. Well, that was a good start. Also this way to go as well. Yeah, there is a lot of particles. That's why I was doing the particle engine the other day as a kind of precursor to this. I mean, obviously, we're not going to be able to do quite as many particles as this, but we can cut them down quite a bit. It's screens like this that are going to be difficult. So it's basically going to be there's no gravity as well, so the control of the player should be quite easy to handle. The difficult thing is going to be the number of sprites, and so that's kind of where I've been doing the work already. I have made a little bit of a head start on it because I realized if I didn't, this first kind of stream would be incredibly boring. So this bit here, for instance, I've got some ideas how to handle that many sprites. Whether or not it works or not, well, it remains to be seen. But unfortunately, I don't get much further than this. I always die on these things down here, so. Yeah, but anyway, you get the idea. So we're going to start by setting the basics up for this, which I'll demonstrate now. So what I've already done, just to get a little bit of a head start on it, is I've done some of the kind of mundane stuff already. So I've created hey Faro, welcome, dude. I already had this cart loader file which I've been using for several projects now. So I've included that in this and set the cartridge up. So this is how the cartridge basically is initialized. I have to set some of these variables here and define which cartridge format we're using, as well as import the actual cart loader itself. Any virtual code, so anything that doesn't assemble into actual bytes in memory. So macros, virtual zero page addresses, a file with constants in, which is something I'm going to try a bit different to normal. That you import those there, and then you add the files that you need to you need to add to the cartridge. So the first file will always be called boot, and this is the one this is the one that gets jumped to immediately on loading. And these are the loaders here. So you'll see in my loader, each folder like this is going to have a loader in it, and it's going to be responsible for loading the relevant pieces in. So this is loading in boot.asm, and boot.asm is my kind of test file at the moment, but it will be spread out into separate loaders for each one, and each one will be loaded in here. Is the game supposed to be that difficult? I thought I was doing something wrong and being able to get to the fourth screen, like I missed a weapon or something. You can get that double weapon, and it does get a bit easier, I think. I need to play it a bit more. I haven't played it an awful lot. I'm waiting till I play it on the Switch, because I think that's where I'm gonna really kind of get the feel for it. So I've also copied over. So part of my boot system here is copying over some stuff that is in memory. So in this case, my tables file here, which just has some powers of 2 in it for now, and my multiplexer as well. So the multiplexer is a multiplexer that I've used in Parasol Stars. The reason I'm using the one in Parasol Stars is because, first of all, it's pretty decent, does a good job. I spent quite a bit of time optimizing it and getting it to work exactly how I needed it to work on Parasol Stars. The other advantage it has as well is it only multiplexes the last 6 sprites. The first 2 sprites don't get multiplexed, and the reason that's a benefit to this game is it allows us to have 2 sprites for the player that don't get multiplexed at all. So there's no chance that those 2 sprites will flicker. So only the enemy sprites would flicker in this case. So I've implemented that already. Let me just see if it will just boot up. Hopefully it does. It all has to be done through a make file instead. Yeah, there you go. So it's kind of hard to really tell what's going on because it's just drawing a circle of sprites. But essentially what this is doing, if I go in my constants here, so I've got it set to 24 sprites at the moment, and that includes the 2. Even though it says multiplexed sprites, it does include the 2 that don't get multiplexed as well. just because I need to store those values in the multiplex data array so that they can be used kind of in the same way as everything else. Did I use a common multiplexer? No, this is one I wrote myself for Parasol Stars. So I had it working with 24, but I think it does work up to 28 fairly consistently. Where's it gone? There we go. Yeah, so it does work with 28 as well, but so this is the raster time for various things. So the white here is the sort routine, and you can see that's quite heavy sort routine. So I might try and find a way to speed this up somehow. It is using the same sort that was used in Swiv. It seems to be quite a common method for doing it, and it's freely available on what's it called, Codebase 64. So I'm not sure how much faster I can get it, if at all, but if I can, I will try and make that a little bit faster. And this is the time taken to draw all the things, all the sprites on the screen at the various positions. So one of the reasons this sort is so long is because it does two things. First of all, it sorts the sprites by it looked at a linked list rather than a sort. That's what I'm using, a linked list. So I'm only sorting indexes. I'm not sorting all the data. I'm only sorting indexes, and that's it. So and I'm using, it is kind of a linked list, because what it does is once it's sorted, it then goes through the list and it works out where the raster positions need to be for each of these to be displayed, and it stores those in the list as well. So as it goes through the list, it knows where the next raster position would be. So I'm not having to do any of that calculation here. It's all calculated down here. So yeah, it should be fairly efficient. Obviously 28 sprites is still not enough to do this game. There are places, as you saw on the third screen across, there are places where there are like 50 or 60 sprites, but I've got some ideas for those. So one idea is to have smaller enemy sprites in a few different formats. So there'll be a single sprite for one, but then there'll be another sprite which has two enemies in it, and there'll be animations for where these enemies are within those sprites. So that will allow me to double the number of perceived sprites on screen just by sharing sprites with other enemies. The reason I'm all right, I think that will work, is because generally these sprites all move towards the player at the same time. So if they're doing that, they should stay grouped together, and that will make sharing the sprites quite easy to do. And the other thing is, because this is loaded from cartridge, we could technically have a completely new sprite bank for each screen if we wanted to. So on screens with lots of little enemies, we can just fill the sprite bank with enemies in various positions, in pairs of two, or even in groups of three as well. It just depends. We're going to have to see how that works. So what I want to do tonight is I want to get some of the graphics in place, and I want to create a basic placeholder for the title screen. So I have got, Andy's done some work on, hang on, let me find the right folder for these. Andy's done some work on extracting some of the graphics already. And so I've got, where is the title logo? Let's go for the title logo first. So I've already got this in place. So I think I mean, this is probably overkill at the moment. I don't think it's doing any sorting of characters in here. Actually, is it, or is it not? Maybe it's not. Hang on. Remove duplicate characters, remove unused characters. Okay, no, it's so this is using 197, but I think what we'll probably do on this screen is find a way to reduce this down. So for instance, on the title screen, this is actually red. these shadows are red. So I'll probably do these with sprites. Probably have some multiplex sprite grid over the top of this for the red bits, which will also reduce the number of characters needed here. So, but for now, we're just going to copy this in, and we're just going to drop it into the title screen just so we can see it. So we have a title screen basically. Will just be black and white or the odd color. It's black white with hints of red. So there's a few red blobs here and there. So red generally denotes that something's about to explode, or there's like lasers as well. So the laser is going to be a fun one as well. I've got to think about how to do that. If the laser's pointing down, mostly vertically, swinging like that, then I can probably just use sprites to do it. If it's horizontal, it's going to be trickier to use sprites. Not impossible, but trickier. If you can load in from cart, why do you need reduced charts for this? I don't really, but obviously this isn't the only thing on the title screen. There is. Let me just load that up again. There's also some text on the title screen, some buttons and stuff. So if we can get it down a little bit further, then that would be great. I'm going to turn the music off on this because actually it doesn't have music here. So you can see there's a little bit going on as well. There's a star field as well, which is kind of handy because we've already done a rotating star field. So we're probably going to use that for this screen. But you can see there's a little bit more than just this logo. But for now, I'm just going to put the logo on the screen. And I can work out the rest later on. Yeah, I mean, you could switch charts further down the screen. Yeah, indeed. But obviously, I mean, even though we're on cart, we don't want to fill the cart up completely with character sets just for the title screen. So I'll do my best to fit it all into one thing. Okay. So for now, we're just gonna put the logo on a black background. It means that we'll be missing some of it because actually at the moment I think it's inverse. So let me just have a look. Yeah, at the moment it's black on a white background. So I think what I need to do is invert it all. So like so. I'm just going to do it. Hang on, is that the right way? No, that's not the right way, is it? No, it has to be black on a white background at the moment. No, hang on, that's... Yeah, there we go. So actually the background is filled in with chars across the screen. So, all right, it's going to have to be on a white background for now. I'll get Andy to flip it round so it's the other way, which is fine. Okay, so let's start by exporting this just as a temporary thing. Let me nudge it up a little bit as well, if I can. Yeah, that should be about right. Okay, so let me export that. So I just need to export. Actually, is it the same char color? Yeah, they're all white. Okay, so I'm just going to export the character set and the screen as well here. Okay, so I need to create a folder in source. I'm going to call this title screen, I guess. And this is where I'm going to drop these things in. So title screen is going to contain chars.bin, and then the map as well. I'll call that screen.bin. Cool. All right. And then I'll show you how this works for loading it in. So in order to load this in now, we're going to create a loader file in here. So let's add loader. Let me start the music up again. Turn the desktop audio down. Don't need that. New file. Actually, I should have probably put these in asset folders. I'll do that now. So assets. Let's call this title screen. I need to try my best to keep this much more organized than other games are at the moment. How long that lasts for, I don't know, but we'll do our best. And you can see from the loader, it's quite simple. We define all the blocks that we need in here, and then we can load them in. So title screen assets is going to be one. Title screen assets. So and this is going to load in at C000. So this is essentially going to be the same as the Saturday game. We're going to use the last bank to store the data. The reason I use the last bank is it's just more flexible for me, because I can store sprites under the IO area, which is nice because that gives me a whole 4K block that I don't have to worry about. And there's no unlike the first and the third bank, there's no char ROM in the middle of it, so it's not going to end up broken somewhere. So actually, I'm going to import this to C400, and I'm going to import the screen data at this point. So this is screen.bin, and this is .import binary, and that would be backslash assets now this is going to be 1,000 bytes long, so I just need to put some blanks in here to get me to the next one, and this just saves me having to move this data twice. The cartridge loader will automatically load this data anyway. This just prevents me having to load it twice. Okay, so now I have to import it here. And tell it where the load position is, C400, and this will add it to the list of loadable files on the cartridge. Now I want title screen code. And where should I load this in? So it doesn't really matter too much, but for now I'm gonna put it at 8,000. I think that's safe bet for code. So this will be the code that runs when the boot was finished and we load the game up. We'll come to this point. So for now, I'm just going to do this just to make sure it's loading correctly. So we're just going to increment the border and then jump to the same position, and we'll see that it works. So in the boot section, I'm slowly going to strip this down to be a bit less than what we've got here. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of these imports and put them down here somewhere. Oops. This is just our test code at the moment. So everything beyond here is probably going to be removed. So actually, I'll put these here. This is going to change. Obviously, this is just an entry for the multiplexer. So the only things we really care about is turning the interrupts off here, turning the kernel, banking the kernel and the basic out. And really, I can get rid of all of this as well. So I'm going to remove that. Thick stuff I'm going to remove. So really, the boot is going to be super simple. So actually, none of this is going to run. In fact, I'm just going to comment it all out, and I can drop it into the main game once we start that. So I'll leave it commented out because I'm going to copy it out. So you don't have to change the sudo PC for the block. Yes, I should do. Oh yeah, thank you. Okay, cool. So now what I can do in here, as soon as everything is set up, I can load that new block in. Now, the boot file is going to be very small, but this may contain in the future things like a little kind of selection screen to select between NTSC or PAL if you want to have it as a selection, or it may have the code to work out which one it needs to go between. It could also have splash screens, things like that in it. So boot is really just the entry point for the game. It's where we're going to set up any initial kind of state, and then we're going to load in the main thing. So I can't remember what the actual thing for loading it is, so I'm just going to have a look at my cart loader. It's just load file. Okay. So in order to do that, all I have to do now is load these two files in. So I'm just going to copy those two lines. So here, and what this will do is it will tell the cartridge loader to load in these files to the positions that they've been assigned, and then when it's done, we can jump to 8,000. So I'm actually going to put a label in for this as well. So in loader here, I'm going to call this title screen code start. There we go. So now I can do. Where's it gone? Boot. There we go. There we go, and that should load in. So the only thing I need to do is in here, I need to make sure I import the loader for the title screen in. So the loader is the thing that's going to import all the other files related to these in. The reason I do it this way is because it makes it nice and simple. I can see what sections I'm dealing with. So I have a loader section, which, sorry, I have a boot section, I have a title screen section, and they all have, every one of these will have a loader file, which is where it should start. So has the loader code changed much since you did that on a stream? Not too much, no. The way I use it has kind of changed, but I think it's pretty much the same code. I haven't really done much to it. I think I fixed one small bug in it, but it wouldn't have affected anybody. If anybody wants this chart loading code, I'm happy to share this. This is completely standalone. It can be used in any project like this. So the other thing to note as well, that what I've done here is I've moved the cart loader. So hang on, I need to put in actually that should be a bit lower down. I think it's Well, it works there anyway. I can maybe move it around. So this is where the cart loader code loads into. At the moment, I'm loading it just before the default screen RAM. When you get into overload. Is it Xmize or Crunch on cart? No, not currently, but there's no reason I couldn't do that as well. If I start running out of room on the cartridge, then that's something I'll consider. But if I don't need to crunch it, then I'm not going to crunch it, because what I want to use the cartridge for on this game is to basically load in an entire screen's worth of data very quickly. So we're probably going to have a dynamic dynamic kind of font system where you have multiple font sets, and yeah, there'll be 4 font sets, so 1024 characters, and they'll be so we don't have to repeat these over and over again. And then each screen will just have a list of 16-bit addresses to these 16-bit addresses to these font characters, and then that will be built from a new font will be built from the larger fonts collection, if you like. So because of that, I want it to be quick. I don't want to use Xmize because it's just going to add a little bit of extra time onto it. So I want to try and avoid that if I can. Yeah, there you go. Amok's answered it anyway. I was just about to answer the question, but it's the one, but it's already been answered. This is cool. Okay, so this should now load everything in and jump and just start flashing the screen. Hopefully, if this has all worked. Let's check it out. Okay, something has failed somewhere. Variable start not present on task and code. Okay, maybe I can't use that in there. Oh no, I can't because I'm inside. I'm inside here, so I'll just call it that. It's closed out. I hope that works because I really want to be able to jump to labels in other files. There we go. So this is loading that section up now. Hopefully if I open the debugger, it should just load the same thing. No, so Magic Desk is the cartridge format I use because it's just easy to work with while I'm testing stuff out. But the reason I use Magic Desk is because it's very similar to Gmod 2, which allows you to save. So when it comes to doing the save game stuff, it should be fairly straightforward to get that in place. So you can see we have some screen data there, and we've got all the actual char data there. So it has loaded in kind of perfectly. So the next step is to just actually draw that data to the screen. So it should be pretty simple to do. We'll start just by filling the screen with white because that's the easiest thing to do here. So we're going to just fill the color RAM with white. Oops. No, redshift not equal. That's the one. Okay, so now we've filled the screen right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flick the screen over to use the correct Vic bank and the correct font and screen data, and hopefully we should just see this on the screen. I think I've got the colors the wrong way around. I think I need to set black down and a white background, so let's do that. Okay, so it's DD100. I can never remember what the actual number is to say. Oh yeah, I can actually. So the Vic banks count from the end of memory, bank 0, down to the beginning of memory, bank 3, and that value is stored in DD00. So we're using the very last bank, so it's just 0 basically. So this is Vic bank Let's do 100 to F. And then to set the screen and character ROM, we need to set some values in D018. So now to remember this, the first 4 bits is your screen memory, and we want the second screen. So 0001 will give us that, and then the next 3 bits are the character data, and we want the second one of that as well. So 001, and the last byte could be anything. And then I'm going to set colors. Let me put some notes in what I'm doing here as well. I'll set fit bank screen. And this is clear color RAM black. And then I'm just going to set the background for white. So I think I'm going to get Andy to flip the to invert the colors on that that logo, because I don't think it's going to work the way we've got it at the moment. I'm trying to think, and remove the yeah, and remove the yeah, and remove the shadow on the text as well. He did LDA since amateur. Yeah, I don't mind. I've got so much memory. I don't really care. Ask Andy to change the logo to Reaches 3. Actually, Andy said he was going to come into this stream, so I don't know where he is. I think he may be here in 15 minutes or so. I think he's getting confused with times. Does TATS save a clock cycle? No. So look, it saves a byte, but it doesn't save a clock cycle. TATS and LDX immediate mode are both 2 cycles. So okay, Jumpstar. So hopefully now when I run this, we should just get the logo on the screen if all's gone well. Cool. Background is, oh, it is white. Wait, what? Have I done this the wrong way around? Have I? Just get rid of some of this other code. Don't need any of that. Okay. Oh, it is white with a black background. It's the characters themselves that are colored white. Okay. Okay, cool. So I'll make a white border as well, so it all matches. Okay. So I can't press F7 anymore. I've got to press F8 because we're using a make file to build a cartridge, because we're loading in from cartridges, so it all needs to be in the right place. Okay, I'm going to set my display to get rid of the debug borders and just put normal borders in. Cool, there we go. So we have a logo in place now. Okay, so all I'm going to do here is just wait for the fire button to be pressed, and when the fire button is pressed, it's going to jump to load the main game in, and then we'll create a main game thing in the cartridge, and we'll start loading things in like the multiplexer and stuff. Okay, so this is the setup here, and then I'm going to put title loop here, and basically we're just going to wait for the fire button to be pressed. The control system in this game is interesting because it's a twin stick shooter. We discussed it a little bit the other night on stream. So what I'm thinking is, and a little bit on Hazy's stream as well, what I'm thinking is to provide 3 basic options and a customizable option. So there's going to be single joystick. So with the single joystick, whichever direction you're facing in, you will shoot. However, if you've got a 2-button joystick and you press the second button, you can lock the fire direction. So I think that will be that will be okay for a single joystick. There'll be twin joystick, which is obviously going to be the best way to play it, where it's just like a twin stick shoot. So you'll use one joystick for moving, one joystick for shooting. Then there'll be keyboard and joystick, which you can switch around. So you'll use either keyboard for movement or joystick for movement, and vice versa for the shooting. And then there'll be a configurable mode, and I think the configurable mode will rely on you having a cartridge that can save. Otherwise, you'd have to set it up every time, which would be annoying. But that will allow you to define the movements for define the keys for moving and shooting with the joystick, and you'll be able to use any of the keyboard keys and any of joystick 1 or 2 to do those. Do you know, I've not put the races on. Let me stick the races on. There you go. I'm getting too carried away. Okay, so title loop. Right, there we go. Orange is down. I've been trying to get through that orange so I can open my cream soda. Ice cream in a can. It's amazing. Oh, Hayes going for 5,000 on Turrican. Interesting. Okay, so all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to load the joystick. God, I can never remember the joystick port now. I think it's DC00. Yeah, okay. And I know I can probably do this a little bit neater, but just in case this grows later on, I'm going to do it like this. Because I don't know. I know I could do just a branch. In fact, no, sorry, I'll just do a branch from here. Why not? Okay, and then all we need to do in here is then call this the same kind of thing we called in boot. So this load thing and then jump like so. So I'm just gonna copy that in there for now, and hopefully when I load this, it should nice new effect on the race. What new effect? I haven't done anything to it. A paddle being able to move like a joystick right left would have been perfect as a replacement for twin stick. Yeah, maybe, but the thing is, when you play Cecconoid, you'll realize that the shoot directions are all eight way. There's no there is no analog to it at all. So LGC's drum. Oh, the scrolling at the bottom. It was always no, it wasn't always there. I did add that in. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so this is basically just gonna run. Actually, I should maybe. Oh no, it's fine like this. This is just gonna keep running the title screen over again. I just want to see what happens. I can't remember if I blank the screen during a load or not. If I do, then this is going to be perfect. If not, I need a blank screen thing. Doesn't look like I do anyway. Okay. Well, let's see what happens when we try and load something new in. So now we need to create a yeah, I'm going to call it game in here, I guess. So new folder called game. I'm just going to have a new file called loader.sm. And then this is going to have all the game things that load in. So we're obviously going to need game code, and we're going to need game sprites, game chars, I guess. Let's do that for now. So the game chars and the game sprites, I think, are going to change on a level by level basis. But when you start the game, it's going to load the first screen in. So there are going to be chars that are going to be consistent, and there's going to be sprites that are going to be consistent. So we can put those in here, and for now we can just put the first screen in. But then there will be an actual screen loader as we go on. We'll evolve the screen loader to be something a bit more clever that pulls in various things from the cart. I may have to expand the cartridge loader a little bit. I've got 256 files that we can save on there. That might be enough, but I need to have a look, so it might need to do something a bit different. But I can still group things together, so it's fine, I think. Okay, so let's copy this. Okay, so we're now loading in game code. It's annoying that I have to do this, but unfortunately the way that kick macros work, I didn't really have much choice. So it's worth noting that I can reuse areas of code like this. It's perfectly fine for me to reuse this area because my cart loader is actually here. So as long as I don't override this area of memory here, I can reuse any of this as long as it's you know, I'm just overwriting the boot. I'm overwriting the title screen assets and such. In fact, I'm going to move the boot down to 0800 just because I think it's probably better there. So I will do the same with the game code as well. And then asset wise, so again, the assets are going to be up at the other end of memory. So game chars, they will start at C800, and game sprites will start at D000. So I'm going to keep room for 192 sprites. I don't think we'll need more than 192 different sprites per screen. So there will be some sharing. Again, we might have a system where we can just have a long list of sprites in memory and just pick the sprites you need for a level. But we'll work out how to do that. First 64 chars were common and they loaded the first 192. Yeah, it's going to be something like that. So the thing is the game itself is going to consist of way more than 256 sprites. 250 sprites and characters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a system where we just have a long list of characters in memory. So there'll be a bank that I can load in that has 1,024 characters in it. And you'll be able to load that in and then use another piece of code somewhere else, which can then just go, okay, this screen uses these characters and builds a font out of them and adjusts the tiles to deal with that as well. So it's going to be a little bit tricky, but I think once we've got it working, it should be all right. So that's what I want to give a go anyway at some point. Okay, so these are the pseudo blocks I need to create. So let's go and do that in game loader here. So again, it's quite simple. It's just a pseudo block less. The reason it's a pseudo block is because if I don't put this in here, it doesn't actually know. It doesn't actually know where it's loaded in memory. So this would actually be some random point in memory depending on where it's been imported in the assembly. So by putting this in, it just means if I do that, you know, it jumps to 8,802. It knows what addresses to use in these locations. So that needs to be 800. That needs to be C800, and this needs to be D00. So okay, now I'm going to go and grab some sprites and some characters so we can start making some stuff. Part of me wants to go all in on Turrican in the next race, but then I'll probably end up like Hayes. Yeah. We need a raffle. Yeah, there'll be another raffle in a minute when I come back from a break, which I'm going to go for in a second. Oh, I do usually give you on some of the start stream, don't I? Let me give you all 10,000. I keep forgetting to do that. It's not something I'm used to doing, so and then I will give some out again when well, I'll do a raffle again when I come back from a break, which I'm going to go for in a sec. In fact, I'll go for the break now. Then when I come back, I'll add these sprites in. So back in a sec, guys. I'll leave the races going as well. Right, I'm back. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got in terms of. Let's do sprites first. Is that the latest one? I think it is. Okay, so I think do have just some player sprites, which will do for now. Should be enough. Oh, raffle, thank you. I think actually you can do the raffles. I think. Now my headphones super quiet, so I need to turn that up because I almost didn't hear that. Okay, so the reason these sprites are like this is because what we're going to use for the player sprite is two sprites. We're going to have a background and a foreground, and this is going to create it's going to stop things from showing up behind the sprite. Because we're going to use the play sprites in sprite 0 and 1, they're going to be on top of everything. The stream is batshit crazy at times. Yeah. Hey Andy, welcome to the stream, dude. So let's export these. We can work out how these need sorting at a later date, but for now we'll just export them as this. Okay, no. Let's just call it player. And then in here, we should just be able to import those. So if anybody does have any questions about Cecconoid, then Andy's the person to ask. Thalamus, who's just joined the stream. What am I doing with my life? Joining for 10. Oh, wait, that was a multi-raffle. How did the multi-raffle work? Oh, because Andy started one, I see. Yeah, I thought mods had the option to do that as well. And now we'll do the same in the game chart. So for now, the game characters, I'm just going to load in. So Andy prepared a test level, which has a couple of screens in it, like this, and a few tiles as well. So I'm just going to load a test screen in like so, and then we'll use a tile loader to load this in. Actually, I already have a tile loader that I did in one of my dissect streams, so maybe I'll use that because it is quite flexible, and it's kind of perfect for this thing because I don't need to scroll the level yet. Anyway, I might end up scrolling the level, but I don't need to scroll it just yet. So let's just load. Let's load the character set in. Let's expand it to 256 just so it's the amount we expect. Let me save that. And I will export the tiles as well. So I'm going to set the tiles also to 256 just because it's a nice round number. I don't know how many tiles we'll need, but I assume it's going to be more than this anyway. We're probably going to have to start using where is it? I think it does it automatically. If the number of characters exceeds 256, then I think the tile data starts using 16-bit values, which is probably what we're going to need. And then we're going to probably have some clever system to bring it down to one screen's worth at a time. But for now, we'll load this data in, and then we'll display it on the screen with the tile editor tile system that we've got. 12-bit and 16-bit values. Okay, 16-bit values will be fine. I mean, the extra complication of trying to do it with 12-bit values is just going to be frustrating. I think 16 is fine. Okay, so let's export the character set. So again, all the characters are white. So as long as I keep the screen white, when I draw the screen initially, if I just make it white, we should be fine. So I might have to do some small changes to the loader that I've got for this assets player. Okay, so let's create one called game assets here. And this will be level chars. Not import, sorry. And for now, I'm just going to load one screen in. We'll deal with multiple screens once we get everything. I want to get one screen on, and I want to get the player moving around in it. And then once we've done that, we can worry about moving between screens as well. So so this is level tiles. Yeah. And so to just export one screen, I'm going to set this to 20 by 22. Oh, no, there's a blank area in here. Okay, so I'm going to copy that block, just put it up here. And that's actually 11. No, it's not. It's 12. Yeah, there we go. Right. For now, I'm just going to call it. I'm just going to call it screen 0. We can figure out a naming convention for the screens, or whether we just store it as one big map or whatever. I'm not sure yet. For now, I'm just going to load it like this. We can adjust that when we start getting to all the screens. Okay, so that should give us hopefully game should give us a few extra characters. So we've got level chars. So this is game. So game tiles can go here. Now, there's nothing stopping us loading all the tiles in one go. That's absolutely fine. The only thing we can't do is load all the characters in one go. We can only load 256 at a time. So I'm going to load the tiles here. I do need to add that to here. Oops. We've got 256 tiles. Each one is using 4 bytes, so that's 1 kilobyte. But if we go for 16 bit addresses, then that would be 2 kilobytes. So I'm going to store these at B800, which is just before the VIC area, and that should give us 256 tiles. 256 tiles using 16-bit char lookups. That's what we've got space for. For now, we're just using 8-bit lookups, but we will be able to use 16-bit lookups. You never saw me as a B800 guy. First thing I do whenever I code nowadays is just bank out kernel and basic straight away. So okay, so that means I need to set this to B800, and then I can import that here. So I'm just gonna copy that line. It's easier. Okay, cool. That's all the assets that we need except for the screen. Actually, yeah, I'll import the first screen here as well. So for now, I'm just gonna call it screen 0. In fact, I'll put 3 digits on it. This is probably going to change because I don't want to have a separate cart load for each screen like this. I would rather load it in chunks and just pull the data out that I need for that particular chunk. So I'm going to load this directly into the screen, which we've got at where did we put it actually? We'll put it at C100. Just because for now it doesn't matter if oh no, I can't actually, because it's not screen, it's map, isn't it? This is map data. Okay, so I will call it screen, but it's actually map data. So this is currently 240 bytes per screen. So I'm not going to load it into here. I'm going to load this into let me think, where would be a sensible place to do this? I guess B700, because that gives us 256 bytes. And this is game. This is called screen 0. So this isn't actual char data, this is tile data. So I need to load that in separately as well. Airwolf. Somebody's always got to pick Airwolf at some point. Okay, cool. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open another Sublime window. I'm going to go and grab my the loader that I did the other night. Is it this one? I think it's this one, map loader. Yeah, it is. It's this one. All right, cool. So I'm just going to copy that. Actually, I'm going to put it in game because this is all loading stuff in here. I'm going to put this in like so, and call it map loader. So map data was at B700, tile data is at B800. Attribute data we don't need, so I'm going to remove that. Tile width, tile height, that's correct. The following 2 values cannot map full width. Okay, because we don't have. This is the size of our map. We've only got a single screen, so that's good. So attribute data, I'm going to get rid of that because we're not going to load those in. We're just going to automatically use white for everything. I do need to set these values in 0 page. So there we go. It's handy having some stuff that we've done before. It's kind of nice. Can the scroll registers be used for screen check? Yes, I fully intend on doing that as well. I'm also considering when I load the next screen in, doing it in a section of memory somewhere, and scrolling to it, so we can use the same effect of scrolling between screens, which is something once we get a couple of screens in, I'll start thinking about how to do that. What I really want to get down though is the way that the map data is loaded in. So as long as a single screen doesn't use more than 128 chars, then we can always do that scrolling. Even though some will be shared, so we could probably use more than 128. So what you would do is you would define your current screen to use the first half of the char set, and the screen you're moving to use the second half. You would load it in from cartridge, set the font, set the second half of the font up, draw the second half of the screen in another buffer somewhere, and then scroll it into that one, and then start using the second half of the font, and then the next screen would use the first half of the font, and so on and so on. I need to have a think about how that system's going to work, but it'd be really nice if we could get that in. We can turn sprites off when it happens. It's not like it happens really quick. It doesn't even need to use the scroll registers. It can just be a quick shift across. It should look good. Is it possible to have the race wages scroll along the bottom? Yeah, possibly. I need to think about how to do that. I'm currently using Marquee to do these things. It's a deprecated HTML tag, so I shouldn't even really be using that. It's just a quick way of doing it without messing. So okay, attribute data. So here we're doing the attribute data lookup. Let's have a look. So Codex tiles. So actually don't need to do that. This would just be 0, 1. Don't need to do that. This is all fine. This is all fine. Also means we've got a nice multiply function here, which we can use at some point if we do need to use multiply. This should be fine now. Okay, so let's try and load the map loader in as well. So we go into our loader here. So we've got this section here now, which is where I'm going to import all the code. So we'll have our kind of main code here. So let's just, for now, it's just going to be here. I'll move this into a routine in a minute. Let's do with these. And then at the end of this, I can just import the code files that I need. So I need maploader.asm. So the first thing I can do here is I need to set the screen up again. So the Vic bank should already be set because we did that in the intro, but we do need to set the character set again because we're using a slightly different screen here. So that is basically we're using the same character set, so that is that, but we're using the first screen, second character set. Set screen and char pointers. And then we need to call our map loader. So I think it's just draw map, isn't it? Yeah. Tile draw offsets passing X and Y. So I need to can probably get rid of these as well, but for now I'm just going to do loader draw map. Okay, so the other thing I need to do here is in where is it? Okay, I can do this here. So load file, and I can load all these in here, so I don't have to load them all in the. Oops. So all I have to load is game code then from the intro. So if I go into the boot code here, title screen start. Where is that actually? Sorry, not that one. In here. Again, title screen code should probably be moved out of here as well. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it title screen.asm. Okay, so that's what I need to load at the end. But it means I can now grab all of this and not that one, this one. There we go. And then in the loader, I can just, so I want to keep these loaders quite simple. I don't really want to have much code in here. I just want these to be lists of the things I need to import in order to get things to work. Title screen code. Yeah, import title screen, which is going to load in this. Change this to start now, and I need to change this to load file. Code. Change what that does in a second. So that means in here, this will actually be start. There we go. Okay, cool. So that's the title screen loading. Then I load the game code up. The game code goes ahead and loads all these extra files in down here. 2, 3. It actually doesn't load the screen in, so I need to load the screen in as well. To make sure that's in my cart list. It is. Yep. Runs this, and now I need to jump to somewhere, so I can jump to game code. Yeah, this would be, call it game loop in here. That will actually go with it as well. So we're kind of limiting what actually gets loaded in these files. So that all is all going to go into game loop.asm. You see, I'm trying to do this in a much more structured way to what I normally do. And in title screen, I can go cool. All right, so hopefully that's gonna load up. No, something's failed. It's failed. Unknown symbol game tiles. Where have I done that? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so it's not quite loaded the map in for some reason. It's also in warp mode. Don't know why. Just check the data that I have. So it's 2x2 tiles. There's nothing special about the way they work. That should just work. I don't know why that's not correct. Stormlord 2, yeah, maybe. Jerome Tell this. Interesting. Type in the intended file name as the first line. Oh yeah, yeah. So if you create a new file, and you make the first line of code the name of the file, and then go to save, well, it's already, and it's an untitled file. It will give you that as the file name. So I just find it a bit easier than doing it the other way. Okay, so why is this not loading? So it's map loader draw map. It's actually trying to draw the map, but it's getting something wrong here. So, oh, map data is B800. Tile data. Oh no, map data is B7. Tile data is B8. That's fine. Maybe I need to do this differently. Should be fine though. Oh, screen RAM here. I don't have screen RAM set anywhere, so I don't know how that was working. Oh, I do. I'm saved here. Okay, let me do that again. I'm intrigued as to why that didn't show the right things then. Thanks for the host, by the way, guys. I completely missed your hosts. Hayes and Andy. Thanks, guys. Okay, so one thing I notice is as that data loads in, the logo screws up. So we need to blank that screen out as we go to there. We also need to make the border black as well. But for now, I want to know why it's not loading the correct map data in here. That's the more worrying problem here. Because I had this map loader stuff working. Let me try loading the map loader in again and just see see how it works on the original one, because I don't want to repeat stuff if I've already done it. So this was the code we did last time. Thanks for the host, Pro7. Yeah, so this is loading the Navy SEALs artwork in, and this worked absolutely fine. Map tile width 20, that's a single screen, that's correct. These data constants should be aligned, they are aligned. What am I doing wrong here then? Let's see when I call it. If I call map loader with 0, 0, does it give me the X and Y? Okay. Yeah, so it gives me the top corner. So I don't know why that's not working for this particular map data. Maybe I've saved. Let me try saving the data again. Maybe I've saved it out wrong. So export map 8-bit. Oh, export selected map area. That would have been much easier. Never mind. Let's save the tiles. Export tile set. Tiles, yeah. Navy SEALs, yeah. Yeah, for some reason it's drawing that level data really weird. What's it actually doing there? Is it drawing to the wrong... Let's open it up in the debugger and have a look what's actually in memory at the various locations. Okay, so what I want to go and have a look at is what's at C000. Okay, so this kind of looks blank. For some reason, it's not drawing the right thing to this location. It has kept that logo in place, which is fine. And we do have the character ROM here. Yeah, it's just printed this character in a few places on the screen and nothing else. Okay, let's have a look at the map loader code itself. So map loader, where is the map loader? Hang on, where are we actually loading this into? We're loading it into, okay, get rid of title screen. Keep the loader, map loader. Okay, game. Map loader is loaded in quite early on, so... Oh, actually, where is the map loader? Game loop. Oh, straight after. Okay, so 0800. So there should be. Okay, these are our loads that are happening, and then there is this. This is our map loader here. So let me put a breakpoint in there. Do a reset. Also, I've got no symbols, so this is going to be awkward. Okay, so what I'm interested in here, I was hoping to see the code, so I need to sort that out at some point. Obviously, the make file is not exporting those things, so it is character 01, yeah. Do I get my wine delivered due to COVID? I do, yes. I haven't actually been to a shop and bought some wine for 6 months now, which is killing me because I do like to have a kind of browse around, but unfortunately I can't do that in this climate. So okay, so here's the first self-modified code. And see, this is why I use the word beef or some other word that you recognize, because now it's easy for me to spot that self-mod code in here. Okay, so this is storing at C0, and that is the very top corner of the screen, so that should be fine. So then the question is, why is it not actually loading the correct values into the screen? Let's have a look at the tile map data and the map data. So let's have a look in. Right, let's start with the screen data. Okay, we're definitely seeing different tiles in there, so they shouldn't be the same. They should be different. And the tiles are definitely varied. Okay. So to come back into here, let's take a look at character set C800. It's the the character set. The character set is correct. We're definitely seeing that. Let's get to the breakpoints in here. So this is the screen data, I think, or is it? Yeah, this is actually it looks like color RAM. I'm not sure what's going on here, but okay, this is not displaying what I want it to display. Okay, this is fine. I think what I'm going to do is probably just write my own. I say write my own. That was my own. I'm just going to do another one. So, yeah, we'll just do another. We'll just do another map loader. It's not difficult. We don't need it to be as flexible as this, and we'll probably save some zero page stuff. So I'm going to get rid of the zero page stuff here. And as nice as that file is, I'm just going to redo it. I don't know why that doesn't work. That was the whole point of that, was to write something that could be reused easily. So, and then the first time I try and reuse it, it doesn't freaking work. So, well, I know other people have used it, so it's strange. Okay, so we're going to create a draw map routine, and this is going to take the values from. We don't need that load X and load Y now, so we're just going to load the values in from memory. I'm going to create some constants for these values. So map data is at V800, and map tiles is at no, map data is at B7. Sorry, map tiles are at B800. And the screen RAM we've already got set up. So in fact, I have a constants file. This is why I have a constants file. So these are always in the same place. Okay, cool. Another Airwolf. Guys, you're addicted. Mind you, it's still Airwolf August, I guess, so it's allowed. Okay, so we need to draw 20 tiles across, 12 tiles down. And so this is going to be fairly simple to do. We can probably do this with, I'm going to do this almost completely with self-mod code. So first of all, we're going to set up the initial self-mod stuff. So we're going to grab map data, and this will be stored at map fetch swamp. Actually, do this. Let's not make it too. Trying to use these for constants and for namespaces and not for. Hey. Oops. So this will be our main loop. This, yeah, well, we'll rename it in a minute. So we're going to grab something from our map fetch. That's going to give us the tile number. Then from the tile number, I now need to look up a map tile. So I'm going to store that at map tile fetch +2, which is going to be here. Oops. Oh. And then I'm going to store 0. Oh, sorry, tile fetch +1. God, what's going on? Press F7. Damn it. Okay. Okay. And now I need to multiply this by 4. So I'm going to shift to the left this one, and roll to the right. This roll to the left this one. That's ×2. That's ×4. And then I need to add. Actually, I can just do it like this, like so. And then I just need to add the upper part of map tiles. So, and then I store that at tile fetch +2. So that gives me where the tile data is that I'm trying to grab. Tile offsets here is going to be 4 numbers. It's 0, 1, 40, 41. So you've got the position on screen, the offsets from where we're going. Hey, Chromosome Drift. Queued up something better than Airwolf. Okay. Funky Town. Okay, so that gives us the tile now. I can load this. This is going to need to be $X, because we now need to grab 4 different bytes from here. So I'm going to do this backwards. So I'm going to grab the tile data for the bottom corner, so this one first. Actually, I'm going to do this with Y. It's just going to make it a bit easier. See, you'll see Y in a minute. Like so. And then that will be stored at a screen location X. That's my screen put. So up here, I need to set my screen put. So that's going to be screen RAM. Okay, cool. So I've got my my main kind of, I'm grabbing a character from the tile, putting it to the screen at this location. Then I need to decrease Y and do that every time until and just keep fetching until it's finished. So that should give me one tile. Let me just check that that's working. I'm going to put RTS in here. Let's give that a try. Just to make me feel really alienated. I can't bring myself to even use TikTok. It's just a step too far for me. Something isn't working here. It seems to be writing, but it doesn't seem to be loading anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, interesting. It doesn't clear the screen that's currently there, so that's probably one thing, but that will sort itself out as we draw the rest. But the first tile looked correct, so that's good. So now increment things. So we always need to increment the tile fetch because we're moving through the map data sequentially. So the map fetch. The map fetch will always need to be updated. So that's what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to load accumulator. Well, actually, I'm going to do it with yeah, actually, I'll do it with accumulator. Samantha Fox. Oh my god. Okay, so that's incremented the map fetch. Actually, I can not bother using that. That's fine. I always recognize Steve Rowland's music. I need to turn my headphones up because I like this. Very, very distinctive style. Okay, so the map fetch has been incremented. That has to increment. Now we need to do the screen, but how we increment the screen depends on whether we need to go onto a new line or not. So we need a column counter up here. So in 0 page here, so I'm going to have some global temporary variables. Now, these are only to be used if they don't need to be stored between functions. So I'm going to use them here. I'm going to call them gtemps as well, so it's obvious that they're global. Because I do want to try and make good kind of efficient use of 0 page. Okay, so this is going to be our column counter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a label for it here. Okay, so these will never be used in IRQs. If we use them in IRQs, we're going to get into all sorts of weird problems. So this is our column loop. So we need to draw 20 tiles. So I'm going to set this to 14 and we'll store that at gtemp. Column count. I've actually given it an alias. I should use it. And then here, don't forget to push the registers. I'm not in an IRQ yet, so I don't need to push the registers. Also, one thing I have done as well is I've created some macros for some basic things. So one of the things I can't do in this code is that I do quite a lot for finding an address in here. Because it's using sudo PC, you can't do this. So I've created this thing instead. So I do debug, and then when that loads, which I'll show you here. It will print it out in this list here. So I've also used zero page to store the missed the joke again. What was the joke? Oh god. Can you use fill inside a virtual? Yes, you can use fill. It just reserves that many bytes. Oh, is that, yeah, yes. That's not a joke. That pained me deeply to do that. And the other thing I'm doing is storing and restoring the state using zero page instead of using the stack. It's a little bit quicker, and it's kind of needed to get the most out of the sprite multiplexer as well. So okay, okay. So our global temp is going to be our keep that. I'll get rid of that end of map load. I don't need that. In our column parent here, so all I need to do now is work out whether or not I'm at the end of a column. So branch if equal to new row. Otherwise, what I need to do is just add 2 to the current screen put here. So it's basically the same as this, but adding 2 instead. So, and it's screen put. Now, another way I could do this to save on code, actually, I'm going to create a second temp here, is if I put new row here, like so. In the same row. So if we're on the same row, it's just going to jump to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to load the accumulator with 0 at this point. And then I'm going to add, for the same row, I'm just going to add 2. For a new row, I need to add 40 as well to go on to the next row. And then here I can just I don't know if that actually saves me many bytes, but I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, actually, no, it really doesn't matter because I still need to do my loop differently anyway. So we'll go the old method of doing. I'm trying to be clever. I need to stop trying to be clever and just go with it the new ways. Yeah, I bet Thalamus requested this. Yeah, I thought he might. Okay, so new row we will exit at that point. Otherwise, we're just going to jump to our column loop, and hopefully this will give us a whole row now of characters. I need to start trying to be clever, but see, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you end up kind of overcomplicating things. Okay, we've got. Maybe it was doing the right thing because. Interesting. Interested. Now I'm fucking hell. Now I'm doubting my original code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this. I'm going to rename this just to MapLoader2 for a second. I'm going to put my original code back in because I think it was working because I'm getting exactly the same results there. So I'm going to load this entire thing back in again. I'm going to get rid of that color thing here. So I just need to make that 0, 1. Get rid of that. And change the values in here. So map date was B7. Don't need attribute data anymore. Types it B8. Okay. Could it be a color thing? Maybe the colors are wrong. I've got both versions here now, so I can take a look and see what's going on. So, because that seemed to be drawing. Maybe the tile data is stored in a weird format. Okay. Because if you look at this now, this gives me exactly the same row of characters on the top row. Is that not working? Oh, I've added. Oh, because I've duplicated. Okay. So I don't need data. It's already defined. Okay. Oh, and I need those 0-page things. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with my new loader anyway. I think it's going to be smaller and use less thing. But I want to work out what the hell's going on here. Why is it showing? Okay, now it's showing something completely different. Okay, sorry. We'll go with the original one. With my new one. Sorry. Don't know why it's not showing up. I can only imagine that the colors aren't right or something. It's got this one here and it's got this one here, but then it's missing these bits here. So I want to load this in the debugger and have a look at what we're actually seeing at that point. Oops. Oh, it has loaded in. Damn it. That's just on the wrong screen. See, if you look, so this is color RAM. So color RAM is wrong for a start. So let's go and just fill that with. That looks wrong. There's something weird going on here, and I'm not sure what it is. No, the character set's wrong now. Oops. Yeah, I don't think it does. That's the strange thing. It doesn't seem to have the right charbang. It's so annoying having to load this way, but I'm gonna have to figure out a better way of doing this. Oh, what's the right button again? There we go. It should have the right character set in. Yeah, because you can see it's loaded in a character set here. It's in text. It's in high-res text. Colorama is full of white, so that should be fine. Oops. Oh, God's sake. But it's just filling it with zeros here. For some weird reason, it's filling it with zeros. But if I look in the map and text, so these are the tiles, B800. Oh, no, look. The tiles are missing data. It's the tile. So the map is correct. The tiles are wrong. Okay. So let's have a look at the tile data in here. No, they're fine here. Interesting. Am I loading it into the right place? Maybe I'm loading it in the wrong place. Let's have a look. Level tiles B800. Let me check the code in here. Game tiles B800. Yeah, this is fine. But for some reason, it's not loading those things in. It's loading something else in that place. Game loop. Okay, game loop loads game tiles, game chars. Let's load these in the exact order they appear. So these are all the things that load. Then it gets to this jump location here. So let's give it a restart. Hopefully. So it gets to this point, and you can see it's read all the, well, it's filled in all the what is this? This is the map data. This is correct. But you can see here it's put the completely wrong map data in. I'm wondering if it's something to do with my data loading, because that is completely wrong. Let me try loading it somewhere else. Maybe that will fix it, and I can come back to that. So, game tiles. Let's load this. Let's put it at the end of basic RAM area. So 9800. Which means I do need to change it in my map loader. This is my constants. I don't know why that's loading like that. It's very strange. Yeah, maybe the map data is too much. Yeah, I've exported too much, haven't I, in my map data? That's what it is. I think you're right there. Let's have a look. Oh yes, of course. Oh, god damn it. After all that, it was so simple. But what I can do, and I want to use this method now, is if I just select that area like that, I think what I can do, export selected map. I can't believe that after all that. Yeah, you get 20 AMK points for that. Well done. So actually, I am going to put it back to B800 because I like it being there. I think it's a good place for it. So yeah. Okay, now it's not even showing me any freaking map now. What have I done wrong now? B800, B800s. I really don't trust the output from this. Hang on. So I've asked it to export just the selected area. So I just want to check. Uh, screen. Oh, I've exported the wrong thing now, haven't I? Yeah, both. I've exported completely the wrong thing. Both B800. No, I've exported the. Yeah, I mean that's wrong as well. But map data would be B700. Raptors B800, right? But I've exported the wrong thing anyway. So let me re-export my files. Right. So I need to export this as screen. So export selected map area as screen 0. And then I need to export the tiles. There we go. There we go. Right. Okay. Blimey, that was a lot more difficult than I probably should have made it. Okay, so GMT temp 2 is going to be our row count. And this is 12 because we've got 12 rows. And that needs to go before this because this is, whoops. This is our row loop here. Cool. All right. So, and then down here, jump column loop. So in a new row, what I need to do is exit. There we go. And now instead of adding 20, adding 2, I need to add 2 and then 40. So I need to add 42. So that's 2A. If this works, I'm going to go for a cigarette. No, it crashed. Why did it crash? 2 puts me on. No, that should be fine. I've done too many in the row count. Well, let's just do 2 rows. Let's see if this is actually doing it right. It worked for a second. Yeah, I saw that. What? What? That doesn't even make any sense. Okay. All right, I'm going to go for a quick break and then I'm going to work out why on earth it's drawn half of a character of each section. It's 2 by 2 tiles. I think my advancement down the screen is working wrong because I'm only supposed to be drawing 2 rows here, but it seems to have drawn multiple. So I think my counters are wrong. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. I'll leave the races going. All right, break. There we go. Be right back. I'm back. That was a quick one. Oh, cool. That was close. Close race. What's this tune? This is kind of funny. I like it. The shit. Who requested this? Thalamus. Okay, I think I know what's going on. I think I'm jumping to column loop yet instead of row loop. This should be row loop. Which means I can put all the rows back in now. This should be fine now. I need to close this down. Okay, I'm sat waiting for it to do some. There we go. Perfect. Right. So the other thing I need to do is I need to make sure that the screen is disabled during the cart loading. So I'm going to do that by taking the title screen code, and just before we do this, I'm going to set the screen off. So is it D016? No, D011. No. Where is it? Where's screen off? Oh yeah, screen off bit 4 of D011. So 3, 4. And that's just going to turn the screen off while we load the next screen in. I'm also going to set the border to black at this point. And then in the game loop, once all these things are loaded in, and the screen and char pointer set up and the map is drawn, then I can turn that bit off again. Okay, so we shouldn't get the flash now between the screens. Oh. Oh, there was still a flash though. In fact, that went really weird. Why did it do that before? Let's turn that off. Strange. Hey, Warlock, welcome to the stream, dude. And then it's weird. 011. Bit 4 should turn the screen off. Screen is completely covered by border. Screen on. Ah, right. Okay, so I've got it the wrong way around. That's why. This would be the opposite. Cool. I should get rid of the flicker. Not directly, but it's Thalamus is so Thalamus is the proprietor of Thalamus Digital, who published the well, actually, Thalamus, do you want to answer that? That's probably best for you to answer. While I check these things. There we go, perfect. But yeah, it's full permission, yeah. And blessings as well. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to start thinking about how we're going to load in the multiplexer and stuff. So I'm going to put the multiplexer into the game code because this is kind of where it belongs, I guess. At the moment it's in sprites. Actually, I'm going to leave it in sprites, but I'm going to load it in here. So in the loader here, I'm going to import sprites multiplexer. .asm. Right, so that's loaded in there. Now I need to go and have a look at the boot code and see how we set things up. So I'm going to create should I do it in game? Yeah, I'm going to do it in game. So I'm going to create an IRQ file in here, which is going to handle all our IRQ setups, and anything else we need to do with the IRQ, including initializing the multiplexer. So the first thing we need to do is we need to enable interrupts. So that's what we're going to do here, and we'll clear the interrupt and return here. And this is going to set all our multiplexer stuff up. So so that's that bit. We also need to acknowledge at this point as well. So that will be here just before we leave. And then we're going to set the multiplexer up. So Okay, so we've got multiplex entry point, so I will put that in a second. But I do need this code as well, so that's code. That's good. You see how I'm shrinking this file down now, so and so this will be multiplex entry here, and this is going to contain this code here. Frame flag, yep, okay. So let's break this down and remove some of the stuff we don't need. I'm going to leave the border checks in for now, just because it's handy to have those in. Okay, so what do? We do a sort, then we draw the first sprites that it can draw up to the point where, actually it draws the non-plex, right? So it draws the player position. So the cool thing about doing it this way is this means if you change any parameter on the player, it doesn't matter where you do that on the screen, because it's only ever actually transferred to the sprite itself in the V blank border at the bottom. So this is kind of like what we're doing on the Game Boy, where we use we use a shadow kind of OAM area for ROM. So legit means fueled by wine, yeah. So do you know, does Steam and Nintendo set pricing? No, it's yeah. I'm gonna get this on Switch probably after the stream actually, and give it a play. Maybe sit up in bed and have a play on it and see how I do, if I can do any better than I can on the Steam version. So okay, so this is kind of set up. This is exactly kind of what we need here. This is a tail call. The reason for this is this has an RTS at the end, and we need to exit here anyway. So there's no need for us to change any of this. So that's fine. This is just setting some test sprites up. So I'm going to set these test sprites up for now because is actually no, I'm not. No, I will. I'll put it in just because it's handy to have something on screen. I'll put it in the IRQ for now, but it will get removed at some point. So I'm going to put it outside of the normal block like that. And we'll do this here. We'll do that's just going to set those sprites up on screen. This will be removed once we start adding more stuff into the game, but this should allow us to actually make sure that the multiplexer is working. Don't need to do anything else here. The sort is going to happen automatically, so that should be fine. We do need to call it init though, so I do need to do that. I'll do this in type screen start now. So that's done now, game loop. So this is map is drawn, screen is turned on. Actually, yeah, okay, let's do it here. So we need to do that. Then once that's initialized, we can do that. So the only other thing I need to do is in my loader, I also need to load my IRQs in. So okay, so that should set up the test sprites and then draw. Okay, let's give that a try, see what happens. Loads of errors is what happens. Okay. Unknown symbol tables. Oh, really? In the multiplexer. Tables. Oh, we're not loading tables in. Okay, I need to load tables in as well, which I can do in here. Little Johnny drop tables, yeah. I guess I'm going to be trying to do that a lot in my new role. So import, this is variables, tables.asm. Let's keep everything kind of neat like this. So anything that's in this folder we'll put at the top, anything that's not down here. 2 errors while executing. Okay, they are unknown symbol multiplex entry. Okay, this is because now the multiplex is looking. Where's the multiplex? Actually, I can just jump to it straight here. This should actually be IRQ. Cool. All right, so we've got sprites on the screen multiplexed. Okay, I will get rid of the borders so we can always restore them at some point. But we have some stuff. We've got stuff on the screen now. That's good. So the next step is to kind of create a player file, which we'll use for controlling the player. I'm going to try and separate the player into various pieces, because one thing I noticed when we did the Saturday game is there was an awful lot of stuff going on in that one file, and actually the player file ended up being it still is the biggest file I think we've got. Okay, so I'm going to turn off these now. I'm just going to comment them out because they're handy to have when we're doing some performance testing to work out how fast things are. But we should have plenty of time and still room to do the particles, which is probably what I'm going to add on the next stream as well. Okay, so that looks good. So the next step then is to draw the player and get it moving around the screen. So I'm going to leave these sprites on screen. And the reason, why is it drawing the borders there? Oh, it's because it's in the multiplexer. I'm going to leave them on screen because it's handy to just see. So you had me going then. It's going to be handy to just see what the performance is like with these on screen as well, and make sure that nothing flickers. Okay, there is another border flash going on in here somewhere, so let's just have a look. It's this one. Here we go. Okay, it should be fine now. Okay, cool. All right, that's pretty good. I'm gonna put a different color onto those as well. For now, I know all the sprites are going to be white, but for now, I'm just going to set all the sprite colors to red. It's set for the first two, so the sprites are drawn in order from top to bottom, from 0 to 7. So sprite 0 is on the top, then sprite 1, sprite 2, and so on. Our main sprite is going to be made of two sprites. If debug. Oh yeah, that's not a bad idea actually. But the thing is, I'm going to be doing it in various places. I might add that at some point, but yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. But I'm not going to want everything turning on, so I may even make a macro to do that as well. So make a macro to you add a like border something, and it border only activates if you set debug. Then it's nice and easy then. In fact, I'll do that in a second. That's not a bad idea, Andy. Extra points for you though. Okay, so because the sprites order from 0 to 7, the main character is going to be made up of a black background with a white sprite on top. So that means we need the white sprite on top, the black sprite underneath. So we're going to do 1, 0 like that. And this is main player colors here. So we're not going to see that when we run it, because this is what I was saying about the multiplex. It doesn't multiplex the first two sprites, it leaves them alone, so we won't see them. We'll just see red sprites, which is fine. Right, so let's create a player in here. Let's just call it player for now, but I think we're probably going to split this into pieces at some point. Okay, let's close everything I don't need. Loader, I'm going to keep open because that's my game loader. Multiplex, I'm going to close. IRQs, I can close. Game loop, I will keep open for now. So loader needs to load in player here as well. And player is going to have, obviously, it's going to have an init, which is going to set up any variables that we need. My temptation is to use zero page for a lot of these things, but I'm going to avoid that, and I'm going to stick to the same method we've done in the Saturday game, is to store positions in here. So the question is, do we need fractional movement or not? Let's have a look at the actual game. So is the gradual movement? No, it's definitely moving. Okay, I don't think we need fractional movement here at all, which is good. It makes it simpler. Okay, cool. Okay, so we don't need fractional movement. So so let's do player X. And this is going to be obviously a 16-bit value. Player Y. Okay. There are speed pickups, so worth bearing in mind. Okay. Okay, yeah, let's do fractional, because I don't know if we need to tweak it later on. It might be weird if we don't use fractional values. So, okay, let's do it this way then. And so in that case, we'll have player speed. And this will be a 16-bit value. So we've got a 24-bit value for X, we've got a 16-bit value for Y, and a 16-bit value for speed. And for now, we'll just hard lock the speed to do 1 pixel at a time. So the initialization here is going to be setting up the where is loaded in here. Yeah, that's good. Multiplexer in it, IRQ in it, and then player dot init. Oops. So the player in it is going to be setting up the position, turning the correct sprites on as well. So let's have a look at what we've got in the sprites. So we need to set these 2 sprites. We'll start with these 2 for now. In fact, it's only 2 sprites actually. I think these are some of the power-ups. This one's the power-up, I think. I need to play it. Listen, other Andy. Yeah, I like that. I like that. You know, I was in a team about 5 years ago that had 3 Robs on it, which was a nightmare. All the other sprites are baddies. Okay, because there is like a drone, isn't there, that goes around as well, goes around the player. Yeah, that's how we went. Last names. That's how we did it. Well, actually, we said first names and then the letter of the last name. Yeah, the mace. Okay, so that's going to need something. But it's fine. For now, we'll just deal with these ones. So this is sprite 40. This is sprite 48 in hex. So let's load these into... okay, so sprite pointers. So sprite 48 is the first one, and this goes at sprite pointers plus 0. So this is main ship, white. And then this is the background, which goes at sprite pointers plus 1. Now we need some position. So let's just it starts in the middle, but I just want to see. I want to see exactly where it starts. Let's get it right. So we start just above those bits there. So let's have a look in the map where that is. Where's the map gone? Here we go. So we're starting round about here. So we can adjust it, but this gives me an idea where we are. So that's 9 at 17. So that's 9 at 17, which in character space is 934, which in sprite space is 144 plus 24, so it's 168, and this is 240. 240. That can't be right. Wait a minute, that can't be right. Oh no, it's not right because that's X, that's right, and I'm counting. This is actually tile 12, and we want tile 17, so it's actually 5. So it's 5 times 2 is 10 times 8, 80 plus 50 is 130 plus 132. So these are the values I want to put into the X and Y. So first of all, let's put the zeros in. So the zeros are going to go into player X plus. It doesn't matter about the fractional values. But I'm going to store them there anyway. Why not? Let's get the fractional values reset. No reason to start on an odd number, even though it won't really have an effect on it. So 1 plus 2, that's right. So then we just need to load 68, which is 8 into and actually I'm going to create these as constants here. So constant spawn X equals 8, and then we can change them here as well. And this is spawn Y, that means this is 84, it's 132. If screen background is black, I don't know why it needs this black. So it's if you are flying over lots of pickups and things like that, it's so that the sprite still stands out. Otherwise, the sprite's just going to turn into a white blob, which is fine for the enemies. We can kind of get around that. But for the main player, you're looking at the main player all the time. So you kind of want that sprite there just to make it stand out and not get lost in everything, because you're trying to control that, right? So you want nice, fine detail on what's going on that on your player ship. You don't want to get kind of mixed up. There's so much stuff going on. If we don't do that, it's going to get a mess. For instance, the player is probably going to move behind particles, and the reason I say that is because if you look at this, he goes behind things here and down here. So it kind of needs to go behind stuff, which means the particles also have to follow the same pattern. So let me find some particles. See, the particles go behind here, so this is going to be a bit of a problem. But I'll think about that when we come to it. We might be able to. There isn't many places where you go behind things, so it could be that we just use a sprite for some of these things here. But then again, the sprites are all going to appear behind the player, so we might have to think about how we do that. But Yeah, it's, to be fair, gameplay is one of those things I'm really kind of pedantic about. I want every little thing to feel right in a game, and even though this isn't my game and it's somebody else has done it, I'm going to try and notice the things that make this game good and keep those things as much as possible. I think it's really important to get these things right. So, okay, so colors now. So this is positions, which we can also just, for now, we can directly store these into the multiplexer stuff as well. So this goes yeah, so this is going to go at I need the multiplexer. I'm going to open it on this side. Xpos. Because there's two sprites we need to do here. Likewise, we also need to store this in, whoops. So right, that should actually give us a sprite. Well, we've not done the colors yet, so let's do colors. So we want white for the top sprite. Oh, we've not set the frames. We need to set the frames up in here. It's not actually in here. We need to set it. But that's fine. That's easy enough to do. So this is color. There we go. Actually, the colors are already set here, but I'm going to set them anyway. Even though they're set here, I'm going to set them manually anyway. So in fact, let me get rid of this and I can prove it's working, because it will set them to the right color. So it means sprite pointers we also need to do this way. We're never going to set these, anything related to the sprites, we're not going to do directly. We're going to do it through this this system. So at the moment, if we set a frame of FF, it's going to stop displaying that sprite and stop dealing with that sprite, which is a way of kind of optimizing that multiplexer a little bit. I am going to change that to 00, because if a sprite is 00, it means it's in screen RAM. So, and also means this check is going to be a lot easier to do. In fact, let me do that now while I remember. So let's change that to 00, and let's go and have a look in the sprite drawing loop. So there's probably some compares to FF somewhere, and that's what I want to try and get rid of. Sprite draw, here we go. Which one's that? That's just drawing an individual sprite. Draw non-plex sprites. It's not that one. That one there we go. I'm just gonna cancel that out like that. There we go. That should be the only place I need to do it, but it just saves me, a couple of cycles. It saves me like 2 cycles, but every cycle counts when you're doing a multiplexer. Okay, cool. That should be all right, I think. Okay, so with a bit of luck, this should now draw our player in the middle of the screen somewhere. Nope, something has failed. Did I press F7? Oh, wait, what? Oh, it's lowercase. Of course it is lowercase. Fine. It's kind of annoying, but it's fine. I'll just... Whoa. Keep forgetting I've got for some reason I got the letter Q bound to one of my mouse keys. I don't know why. I probably set it up for some game at some point, but I uninstalled the iQ software, which means it's recorded onto my mouse and I can't change it without reinstalling iQ, which I'm not in a hurry to do. I pressed F7. I should have pressed F8. Okay, so not seeing the player anywhere on there, so let's open it up in the debugger. Okay, it's not setting those pointers at all for some reason. Positions look fine. The Y position of the second one is wrong because I didn't do it on here. Frames for some reason are not showing up. All sprites should be enabled. Draw the where's the non-plex sprites? Data init, sorts, not the sort I need, it's this bit here. Okay, this should be... This should work. I don't know why this is not working. Oh, this is interesting. This is going backwards through these, so... I flipped these around for some reason. And I don't know why. Which means the black sprite is probably showing on top of the other one. Okay. I just need to flip these around. Oh, actually, I'm not... There's 1 or 2... Why are these this way around? There's something very weird going on here. How this was working in the Parasol Stars, I don't know, because that seems to be wrong. Okay, let's flip everything around. So +1s here, +0s here. So I don't know why I'm doing them backwards like this. There's probably a reason. It's been a long time since I touched this code, so XMSB +1, SB +0. I guess it worked because both these sprites would have been aligned. Yeah. Being sober does does make things a bit trickier, to be fair. Still worried why these pointers are wrong here, though. It's like these. Am I actually loading player init here? I am doing player init, doing multiplexer init, IRQ init, player init. Okay, so player init is here. It should be setting these frames in the multiplexer data. So let me put some. Let me just put a debug in here. So debug. BCD. BCD. Oh, okay. So we're seeing something, but it's showing the wrong sprites here, it looks like. Okay, so why is it showing the wrong sprites? Let's just open that in the debugger. Okay. Yeah, so it's still pointing to these locations here, FF and FF. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me go and try and change those values. So BCD, right? So oh no, the right sprites are here, but for some reason they're not drawing to the right sprite pointer locations. So let me go to C3F8. Yeah, it's not drawing them here. As if I draw 4840, there we go. We've got the right sprite in. So why is it not updating those? Because this multiplexer should be doing that for me in this bit here. Is right pointers wrong? Ah, okay. I don't know why it's doing it like that. Let's get rid of that. saves a little couple of frames as well. That's good. Yeah, I'm not sure why it was doing that. Interesting how that was even working as well. Because that was working perfectly fine in Parasol Stars, which is a bit worrying. There we go, cool. So, and you can see now we've got the player in. Okay, he needs to move across ever so slightly. Let's have a look at the start position again. Okay, so he needs to move across a few pixels and up quite a lot. So that's easy enough for us to fix because we put that in the player as a spawn variable here. So we'll move him across by, let's move him across by 8. And let's move him back by 16. Oops, let's move him by 16. Let's just have a look at that. We could probably work it out exactly, but it's quicker to just do this, to be honest. Okay, I think he's a bit too far over now. Not by much. I mean, it's, yeah, probably 2 pixels too far and 2 pixels too high, so. Cool, that'll do, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some very basic controls in. Now, obviously with this game, I want the controls to be very, very flexible. So the way I'm going to handle this is controls is just going to be a block of, well, it's going to be 2 values, which I'm going to put in 0 page, which are going to be pseudo joystick values. But what they load in is going to depend on a control file. So I'm going to have another file, which I'll create in a second, called control. For now, it's just going to read 1 joystick. That's all it's going to read. And it's going to fill in, it's going to copy that value from there and put it in 0 page. And we're going to use the 0 page value to do joystick tests. But what that means is if we want to change control method, all we need to do is change the code in the control fetch, and it means you can have different controls, which means we can support the 4 control schemes that I was talking about. So again, it's single joystick with the option for a second button if you have it, 2 joysticks, joystick and keyboard, and fully configurable as well. And by having a separate control file, that should make that pretty easy to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So so in 0 page, we're going to have controls. And this is going to be basically, we're going to have move control. And fire control. And we're going to treat these just like joysticks. So we're going to read these values like joysticks. And if we're using keyboard, the keyboard is going to set the values in here as if it was a joystick. So as far as we're concerned, we treat these as we would do any other joystick control. But the difference is going to be that it's going to be set up in this control file here. Now, controller's not going to need initializing at the moment, but we are going to have a fetch routine. We might have an initialize when we add extra controls in, but for now, we're just going to fetch a single value. And that's going to be, for now, it's going to be really simple. We're just going to fetch that and store it in move control. While we're here, we may as well fetch joystick 2. So we're going to set this up initially for twin stick, 2 joysticks. So let's just put that in here. Twin joysticks, there we go. And obviously this fetch, as we add more control methods in, this fetch will change based on whatever control system we've got selected, which will be a variable in here somewhere. Okay, so the final thing I want to do is for tonight anyway, is get this actually moving. So let's control. There we go. Actually, I'm going to call this control proxy because that's kind of what it is. Because there is going to be player control as well. So in loader, we load control proxy in, and then in the main loop here, we can do some actual. Actually, let's create the main loop in a completely separate. For now, I'm going to blank out because it's probably not going to be required, but so the reason I'm doing this is just to make sure that we've got something in a nice block, so we're not going to. Would make attract mode easy if the game has one. I don't know if it actually has one. I don't think it does because I've had this sat on the menu for a while and I don't think it did. So just leave it there and see if it changes. Yeah, it does also make it easy because then you can have control which just sets these values automatically. So you can have a demo play which just has a record of the values that should be in these values. So yeah, so by abstracting it into a proxy like that, it does make it a bit easier. Okay, so in the game loop now, I want to set a frame flag. So we're going to have this frame ready flag. So this is something I always set in my games. This is what I use for deciding whether or not to do anything in the main loop. So I load the frame ready flag, and if it's equal to 0, I go back to the beginning of the loop. Otherwise, I load accumulate with 0, install that at frame ready flag. This just makes sure that the code that I want to run is only running once per frame and isn't just running on a crazy long loop. So the problem is I need to figure out where to set that now. So let's go and have a look at the IRQ code. So we do have the multiplex entry here. We could probably do it at the end of this. So once the next sprite, yeah, I think this is the place to do it here. So we're going to change this from a tail call now. Actually, we can do it just before that. So let's do it here. So set frame flag. So we want to install that at game loop frame ready flag. The reason it doesn't really matter where we do this is because, like I say, all the sprite movement code is all going to be done through a shadow area. So using multiplex sprites means that this is where you do all your sprite updates. And because these are only applied just before the sprite is drawn, you never get into a situation where you try and move a sprite as it's being drawn and you get like a weird tearing of the sprite, which is quite often a problem when you're trying to do things in games without doing this kind of copying everything in the borders. Okay, I was going to do this I'll do the macro next time because I do like the idea of a macro for doing border. No, let me do it now. Why not? So I'm going to create a macro. I'm going to call it border. And it's going to have color in here, and it's going to be if how do you do that? There's a way of doing this now with definitions. Where was it? Where's my cart loader? Cart loader. Here we go. Oh, there we go. It's just like that. Cool. So that means now if I go back into my IRQ code in here and I swap these now for border 1, border 2, and this is Andy's idea. It's a good idea as well. I like it. So what this is going to do now is it's going to make sure that whenever I turn the debug flag on, which I can do in here. So see, I've got this define here. So I'm just going to do it kind of right up here near the top. So I can leave this line there and just comment it out. So if I leave it commented out, when I run this, you don't see any border changes. However, if I uncomment that, you can now see border color changes here. Although the border color changes are weird, but that is strange, in fact. Oh, because that should be like that. There we go. Yeah, that's a good idea for it. I like that. If color equals null, else now, annoyingly with macros is you do have to explicitly say null. You can't just pass no parameter in, so you would have to do it like this, which is a bit frustrating, but it's fine. It gives us sort of overloaded functionality. Helps if I press the right buttons. Okay, cool. Yeah, I should make more use of macros, and I've known about doing something like that for a long time. I've just never been bothered to do it, but why not do it? It makes sense. Okay, so I can turn the debug off. May have actual different levels or something in here, so maybe we can pass a second parameter or so. I'm not sure because sometimes I don't want all these borders on. Okay, okay, player control. Okay, so now we have our game loop, and our game loop is picking up this ready flag at this point. So here we can do non-IRQ game loop code. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump to control proxy and do a fetch. So that gets our new control methods and sets the values in 0 page. And then we're going to jump into player dot control, which we'll put in here. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we'll finish this off. And then once I've got the player moving around the screen, I'm going to call it a night. So that's why I'm going to go a little bit early so we can get it out of the way. All right, I'll be back in a raffle. Yeah, let me do a proper. Let me set you off with that raffle. Can you not do the single raffle? But I'll leave you with that one anyway. And I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be right back. Right, I'm back. Okay, so player control. Okay, nice and simple. Let's just indent that. So we need to fetch the thanks for the sub, Greg Twee. Very much appreciated. Goes towards buying ice cream soda and on weekends wine. I don't know if Amok is in the stream, but your C64 is ready to go. So I'm gonna try and get the shipping sorted tomorrow. So I don't know when they'll pick it up. They'll probably pick it up Monday, I guess, but it should be with you sometime next week, I reckon. I printed out the BMC read me as a manual. Oh yeah, and I've got to sign it as well. He's asked me to sign it. He's given me a message to put on the back of it, so which I've never signed anything in my life, so I'm sure I'm going to make a mess of it, and then he's got a messy signature on the back. So what's the best part about TCP jokes? I get to... Oh man, that's actually a pretty good joke. I like that. Nerdy. I still couldn't believe it when the guy who made the Atari 2600 ET game on that high score on Netflix said EORFF will change everything. I just thought it was a brilliant little nerdy joke that only like 0.1% of the viewers will get. 6502 joke as well. He didn't say XOR, he said EOR. Might do Atari 2600, so yeah. Okay, so going to load move control. And we're just going to do some checks on it. So we're going to check for up, down, left, right, and so on. So we'll do this in sections. So we'll do up first. I'm going to put label into each one. Cool, right. So what do I need to do to check up? So I need to end it with 0, 1. And if it is equal to 0, 1, then nothing has happened. I don't need to do no up. Otherwise, what I need to do is I need to subtract the player speed from player Y. So and that's it. That's as simple as that. So I just need to do the same with each of these, changing it slightly in each way. So this time we need to add the speed. And player Y, yep, and then add 0 there. And also need to move that into the right place. Yeah, it's annoying actually because they didn't mention the Commodore once. They mentioned the Apple II, but they never mentioned the Commodore once. And the Commodore was the biggest selling 8-bit machine, 8-bit home computer. So it really should have been mentioned, but that's fine. It's still interesting. It was cool seeing some of the stuff, like seeing the original notes from Space Invaders was pretty cool. And left, right. So this is player X now, and this is a subtract. And this is player right. And this will be player X, and it is an add still, so that's fine. And then all we need to do, with the X actually, I need to also do And actually, I've just realized I've only done the lower byte, so this actually needs to be like so. Uh, cool, that should be done. And then the only other thing we need to do is put these into the sprites, into the multiplexer data. Now, as I said, I want to make sure that all this data is updated at the same time. So for now, I'm going to put it here. But I may move all of this into a separate update somewhere, probably as part of the multiplexer routine. But for now, it can go in here. And so this is okay. Let's just copy a little bit of this. Okay, that should be enough now. Hopefully we have a... Oh, something's gone wrong. Syntax error, player 49. What have I done wrong here? Oh, okay. What's the plan over the coming months? So Pick and Mix is always going to be the Saturday game. That's until it's finished. That is going to be the Saturday game. When it's finished, we're going to switch Saturdays to Parasol Stars, and then I'm going to alternate Tuesday and Thursdays with the Game Boy game and Cecconoid. So it's going to be Game Boy game on Tuesday and Cecconoid on Thursday. But then when the Mega 65 comes out, we're going to add another game into the mix, and that's going to be cycled between Tuesday and Thursday. So the way it's going to work is we'll do Game Boy on Tuesday, Cecconoid on Thursday, then Mega 65 on the following Tuesday, Game Boy, and we'll just cycle through them one at a time. So we'll be working on 4 games simultaneously, which is kind of insane, but it's the way I get things done a lot easier on stream than I do any other way. So okay, it's for some reason the right is not working. I think I've not done the right and yeah, I've done the wrong hand there. There we go. Okay, cool. So there is nothing in here at the moment which is changing the sprite. So we'll do that now because that should be pretty easy to do. So at the moment, this is how we pick if we're moving to the right. So we do that here like so. Again, this may be moved into a player state up at the top. But then again, it might not be necessary. So we'll just see how it goes anyway. Why did that not load? Let's try again. Maybe I pressed the wrong button. There we go. Okay, so let's compare that to the speed in here. Okay, I think it's a bit slower in this, so actually no, that's probably about right actually. You see what I mean about the black outline? If I go over here, you see how it looks kind of nice now when you go over other stuff. Without that black outline, it would look really kind of dull, to be honest. It looks like a bleeding specky game. Yeah, yeah. Is the Switch version 30 FPS? I've not tried it yet, so I'm gonna give it a shot later, I think. But this is looking kind of okay. And you can see it's not, this sprite is not flickering. It actually does cause some multiplexer flickering. I just noticed when I go up to the top up here, which is interesting. Don't know why it's doing that. So let's see if we can fix that. That could be due to the padding in certain places. Is it doing it down here? No. Okay, it's only doing it in the top area. Okay, so we have sprite multiplexing parents. Let me just increase that. Press F7 again. Damn it. Yeah, there we go. So it's just a padding thing. But there's still a little bit more. Oh no, it is. Okay, so I forgot what I set in here. Number of raster splits of sprites increases the chances. Okay, so let me reduce that and increase that. Okay, that seems to have solved it. So the reason that was happening is because the way the multiplexer works is it sets a raster split up to draw the next sprite. So it draws like the first 6. So it probably, in this case, it's probably drawing 5. It's probably drawing these 5 here. In fact, we can see that if we open it in the debugger. Put it into this mode. So actually it is drawing 6. It's drawing these 6 sprites, and then it's setting a raster split up for the next sprite. And so it starts drawing the next sprite at this point. And this padding value here is how many lines before the sprite does it start. Does it set the raster split? So a padding of 4 means if the sprite is at position 50 in hex, that it actually sets the raster to be at 4C. So the raster happens just before it, so it can set all the values. So you can see how the multiplexer is working. It's always drawing 6 sprites as it goes. It's actually quite a nice multiplexer. I'm quite pleased with it. It's the first proper multiplexer I did as well. I tried various things, but Parasol Stars was the first time I actually did one that was actually really kind of decent. So okay, I think I'm going to call it a night there. I'm quite pleased with the progress tonight. Like I say, I had cheated a little bit. I did the cart load of stuff earlier today. And I also did the well, I'd say I did the multiplexer. I copied the multiplexer from Parasol Stars, but yeah, you can see it's there. In fact, what I might do just before I go is just set the sprite to appear behind things. So let me find the sprite priority, which I think is D019. No, D01B. Okay, so I'm going to do it in here because it is for the player. So, and I'm not going to affect anything else. So I'm just going to do it by ORing those values in. And this is probably going to change. I think I need to have a think about how this is going to work because particles are going to be drawn in chars, so they're going to appear in front of everything in this method. So, which isn't going to be ideal. But there may be ways around this by having kind of zones on the screen where if you enter a certain zone, then you start being drawn behind things, and that means that areas like this here you could still appear behind. You see that this is the problem, and this is something that the game does by having a black outline on everything. And you see how that's got a black outline, but we don't have an easy way to do that unless we use sprites to do it. So maybe appearing behind things is not going to be the best way to do this, and we just have to accept that that is one of the compromises. I'll have to have a word with Andy about that. I don't know if Andy's still there, but actually going, it's really not going to matter if I. In fact, it's probably going to look better if I go in front, because if I go, I can completely hide there. That is going behind, you see, but because everything's white, it's hard to tell. I mean, another option might be to very, very quickly flicker between light grey and white, so the main character is kind of a slightly off white. But that's going to mean that it doesn't quite match properly, so maybe it's not the best idea either. But you can see there, like when he goes behind these bubbles, the bubbles have a black outline on them. So these two bubbles can probably be sprites, that's fine. And they could be sprites with a black border as well, even. So there are ways to do this. There are ways to do this. And the thing is, because we're loading from cartridge, we could do this on a screen-by-screen basis as well. So each screen can be individually tailored to deal with these kind of problems. But I'm relatively happy with that. We've got the basics in place now. Maybe the player doesn't have to be white for the C6. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So if we were to alternate, so like for instance, if I did something like this, where would I do it? Let's do it in here. So say I come in here and I just set a color toggle here. And then colors here. Then what I can do in here is I'll just do it in the control for now, just to demonstrate it. But if I take the color toggle, let's see, flex dot data dot color plus 0. So now it's going to flicker very quickly between white and light grey. So it's going to look like a slightly off-white color, which may look all right. It's going to flicker like crazy on the on there. Let me try it on the oh shit, it's not going to work on the machine because it's in cart format. Yeah, that's not going to. Okay, I'm going to have a think about that. But I'd have to test this on a real machine to make sure it looks all right, because it's really hard to tell on stream because of the way it flashes. But that's one potential way of doing it, and by flickering between a lot very, very light grey. Actually, why is that not appearing on my? Have I unplugged my HDMI? I think I've unplugged the HDMI. It's not appearing for some reason. Okay, I'll work that out for next time. So I've got a few things I need to work out for next time. Let me just remove that now. I'm going to leave it there as a temporary solution because I do want to test it at some point. But I'm quite pleased with that. That's not bad. So we've got the multiplexer in. It seems to be tweaked to prevent flickering so far, anyway. There is going to be some flicker in this game. I don't think we're going to be able to get around that just because of the sheer number of enemies that are on screen at any one time. There is going to be a bit of flicker. I'm hoping that I can get the right number of sprites that I can run the particle system as well, which is something I'll probably add in the next stream or two. Because it'd be good to get the little particles coming out of here as well. And there's a couple of ways we can do that. We can either do it with characters, like specifically just for that exhaust, or we can just use the particle system, which uses characters anyway. I'm thinking the particle system is probably the right place to do it. But you can see we've still got quite a bit of room up here. If I put the debug borders on, yeah, there's still quite a bit of room to do stuff in here. I think there's enough room to fit some particles in. I don't know how many we'll get in, but we can try and get as many as we can in. And obviously, if we reduce the number of sprites, if I go into constants and just reduce the sprites a little bit, so if I just remove 4 sprites, so instead of 28, we've got 24 sprites. It has a massive impact on the sort time. You can see the sort's a lot smaller now. So there's things we can do to kind of test that. One thing I do notice as well is I need to draw this screen actually 1 row down. So I'm going to quickly change that because there's a score at the top, not at the bottom. So let me just quickly do that. And then I'll call it a night. So in map load it here, screen RAM, and this is going to be screen RAM plus 28. So it needs to go down 1 row, which also means I now need to, whoops. Why is it not printing? There we go. Can you change the number of sprites per screen, or is it compile time? It is compile time, but potentially yes. There's no reason I can't have this be a value in memory somewhere. This would be the maximum that you could ever have because it has to assign a certain value. It has to assign this block of data. But the loops that use this value could be changed to use a dynamic value as long as it never goes above this max value here. So yes, it could be changed per screen, which is not a bad idea actually for us. So I'll take that on board because that will allow us to kind of have screens that have got less enemies but have got more kind of stuff going on them. So we can fine balance it per screen. So I like that idea. I do like that idea. So yeah, I'll probably do that at some point. Which actually will make it a very very advanced multiplayer, so actually that you can adjust things like that. Okay, right, so the other thing I need to do is just move the player down a little bit. So he needs to move down 8 because we've just moved the whole screen down, and hopefully now we should see that the gap is at the top, not at the bottom. Yeah, so you can see here now the gap is at the top here. So may add the HUD in at some point. I need to get the characters for that, so it's probably not straight away. I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything I can do quickly now on this stream, but I'm quite happy with that. That's kind of along the right lines. It's close enough to this in terms of movement speed. So I think it's a little bit quicker on here. I know it's about the same actually. It's moving 1 pixel per frame. I think the difference is this is running at 60 frames a second. So let me just try something. Okay, interesting. Seems slower for some reason. So yeah, one other thing that it will allow us to do is have different builds for NTSC and PAL, or at least different values. So we may have to change. So for instance, here I think the number of sprites is too many for NTSC. I think if I change that value down a little bit more, then we should be fine. I think it's because it's encroaching on the IRQ split at the top for the number of sprites. But again, the multiplexer is variable for a reason. It's only ever gonna you can draw up to this many sprites, and there just may be some flicker on some machines. Yeah, it's flickering quite a lot on this one. So NTSC is just going to reduce the kind of maximum number of sprites you can have on screen, I think. So it's really flickering quite badly on NTSC. I mean, it's going right down now, the numbers, so not pleased with that. It does have a CRT bloom effect, I think. So let me just put it back into PAL mode, and then we'll turn them on. So I might have to have a think about that. It might be that we're trying to do too much for it to support an NTSC machine as well. I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can somehow update the. Oh, I didn't turn it on. If I can update the multiplex to do this sort quicker, because I think that's all it is. I think it's this sort. So it'd be good to do. I could maybe launch this a bit earlier as well, because look at where it's launching. It's quite. It's quite late. So let me just quickly do that, because that definitely should be a bit sooner. Multiplex entry. So at the moment that's being called here. Let's do it at F2. Let's go and change that in here as well. The multiplex was using quite a lot of unrolled loops as well, deliberately to try and speed things up. Turrican wins. Oh my god! Anybody win big on that? I didn't see the winnings on there. Yeah, see that's still working. The sort's still working fine. Yeah, everything's working fine there. So that's pretty good. Okay, so let's have a look. Settings, display, CRT, Vic2, CRT emulation, CRT. Oh, that one. Yeah, I don't think you can blur, maybe. No, I don't think you can set a bloom on it, unfortunately. Although that's starting to look. He's got noise in the background as well. You can see if I click off it, you can see the noise in the background. Oh, where's? Yeah, I mean this doesn't look too bad. I am actually going to keep it on this kind of weird setting, because I like having this gamma, isn't it? It's no good. I like having it look kind of close to the original one, so. It's got a bit of blur on it there. Let's turn that gamma up a bit. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, it looks kind of looks nice. I like it. Okay, there is still a little bit of a flicker now and again. We're going to tweak the multiplexer stuff as we go along. And I fully expect there to be flickers in the multiplexer anyway, especially when there's this many enemies on the screen. with less enemies, obviously it will flicker a lot less. But yeah, it kind of looks all right, I think. Yeah, all right, cool. This is as much of the game as you've seen on the Android version. That's cool. I like it. We're on the way. I think next I'd like to get the particle system. Well, maybe get the shooting in next, so we can actually shoot things and some collision. I think that's probably the next steps, so you can actually bump into things and then we can get the shooting in as well. So I think it's not bad. It's not bad. Cool. All right, I'm gonna call it a night there then, guys. I will see you next Thursday to continue this. We'll be back on Saturday though as well to continue with Pick and Mix. Let me just find someone to raid. Do you think the graphics? Oh, let me just finish reading that. Do you think the graphics in the game is light grey, but the ship is white might look good? Or is that not? I think it does need to be black and white. So one of the things I was saying, Thalamus, was so it's great that we've got that black background on there because it looks like that when we go over things, and I think that looks really nice. There's a bit of a multiplex of flicker there, but we'll sort that out later. But the problem is when you go behind things, it looks kind of odd. So I think it's probably just a case of preventing you from going behind certain things, if unnecessary, or just kind of clever use of sprites on different screens. So, for instance, on this screen, there's no reason we couldn't. There's nothing on this screen, so there's no reason we couldn't use 2 sprites here and 2 sprites here to create the same effect, and 2 sprites down here to create the same effect, because that's the only places you can go behind things. So, so we can create that there and that there and this down here. Because other than that, you can't go behind anything, I don't think. I don't think you can go behind these, no. Well, you can kind of half go behind them, but I don't think that needs it. But these probably do. But even like, the top of that doesn't have a black border on it, so it's not everything. It's just a few things here and there. You do pass behind certain most things you collide with, yeah. I think it's just a matter of doing things on a screen by screen basis. So I think we'll be able to make some decisions based on each screen because we have a cartridge, so we can use pretty much an unlimited number of sprites to do things. So it should be easy enough to do. The only problem is with putting sprites in these places, the sprites currently are ordered so that the player is on top. So we might have to come up with another method still to do this. So I'm not sure what we'll do, but we'll figure something out anyway. All right, let's see. We can raid. So who's on? Gunstar Heroes is on. He's been playing some Game Gear stuff. So let's go and have a look what he's playing now. I know he's on a mission to complete, I think, every Game Gear game. So it looks like he's playing some kind of. Oh, he's playing an advert, I think, for Bugs Bunny. So maybe he's about. Oh, I think he's just started. So I think he's going to be playing Bugs Bunny. So he's starting in 3 minutes. So let's go and raid him now and join in. Krusty's Fun House. Is that what he's playing? Or is he just showing adverts for Game Gear stuff? Okay. Yeah, he was playing Krusty's Fun House last time as well. Anyway, thanks for coming along, guys. I'm really pleased with the progress tonight. For the first stream, we've got quite a bit done. It's it moves. We've got something moves. We've got something loads in. It looks all right. It's not bad. Cool. I shall see you all on Saturday for Pick and Mix, and then obviously Tuesday for Game Boy, and then back to this again next Thursday. So until then, good night, and thanks for joining the stream. Cheers, guys.